Unlike an hippo, unlike a fox, nothing quite like it out of the box. A solitary thing, but friendship they bring. As a herd braying, they can also sing. They lighten your load on any old road, humankind's best friend, no matter the mode. Laughter they make, hoing in key. Yes, I speak of the humble donkey.
Little donkey, on the dusty road, got to keep on plodding onwards with your precious load.
Been a long time, little donkey, through the winter's night. Don't give up now, little donkey, Bethlehem's in sight.
Ring out those bells tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Follow that star tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Little donkey, had a heavy day. Little donkey, carry Mary safely on her way.
Ring out those bells tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Follow that star tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Ring out those bells tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Follow that star tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Little donkey, had a heavy day. Little donkey, carry Mary safely on her way.
Ring out those bells tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Follow that star tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Little donkey,
had a heavy day.
Little donkey,
carry Mary safely on her way. Ring out those bells tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Follow that star tonight, Bethlehem, Bethlehem.
Little donkey, carry Mary safely on her way.
The Christmas tree was finally standing in the corner of the room. The presents were stacked all neatly in a row. As I sat down my reclining chair, I put some milk and cookies all ready for Santa to arrive. As I sat in my chair, enjoying my hot cocoa, I heard such a clatter coming from the outside. I thought, this is strange. Who could it be at this hour of the night? Could it be the neighbours causing a fight? I went to the door and unlocked the chain. What was going on in my brain? I opened the door and the snow was thick, but I noticed in the distance something rather pink. As I looked closer, the pink turned into a blinking red light. It gave me such a fright. And I noticed that this red light was moving back and forth. It was Rudolph the reindeer. He was waiting for Santa to come up from the chimney. He was visiting the neighbours next door. He was on his mobile phone while climbing up the chimney to Mrs. Claus, who was asking, "Was everything alright, dear?" She always has to check every Christmas Eve because they never separated for the entire year. He sent a text back saying, "We'll be home in an hour." So he got in the sleigh and off he went to the next house. I was in such a shock to see the real Santa. It gave me such a fright. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Follow the forest path down to the river. We might see Splosh, and we can stand and listen to the song of the river. The Adventures of Splosh the Otter. It was autumn, and the leaves on the trees in Clatterwood Forest were turning from green to red and yellow, then gently falling to the forest floor and into the forest river. Splosh the Otter lived in the forest by the river. Splosh was unhappy. He had lived with his mum, Splish, and his dad, Splash, all his life. But now he was fully grown and he wanted his own home. A rain shower had stopped and the sun peeped through the clouds. He thought to himself, "This is the perfect time to dig my home." Otters like to live in a den. They dig into the riverbank, and the entrance to their den is sometimes below the water and sometimes above the water. But Splosh didn't know this. Splosh ran this way and that, looking for a place to dig his home, sometimes jumping into the river, sometimes chasing a smell which puzzled him. But he finally found a place to dig his home, just by the river hedge. There was grass on the riverbank, which was a short step above the beach, which had stones on it and led to the river. Meanwhile, Toad was watching Splosh from the river. Toad's nose and eyes were just above the water. Splosh was too busy to see Toad, and he began to dig straight into the riverbank. After a while, he had dug a deep hole in the ground. Just then it started to rain, and the hole Splosh had dug began to fill with rainwater. He had built a pond, not a home. He couldn't believe his eyes. He fell backwards into the pond. As he lay there floating, he saw and heard Robin up in the trees, practicing his singing. A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. He shouted up to Robin, "Robin, go away and dig in my home." Robin flew away. Toad couldn't keep quiet any longer. He called out to Splosh, "What are you doing?" Splosh gave a cry, "Flubber splunch." He was very frustrated. Splosh replied, still floating in the pond, in a short-tempered way, "Toad, I am busy building my home." Toad replied, "Otters don't dig down into the riverbank. They dig sideways into the riverbank, then upwards. Or dig sideways under the water, then upwards." Splosh took a moment to think, then cried out, Of course they do. What a noshy lump I am. He got up from where he lay and jumped down the riverbank and started digging into the riverbank. He dug sideways, then upwards, and when he had dug the entrance long enough to his new home, he began to dig out a bowl shape, and this is where he would live. He then put twigs and leaves on the floor, and a pile of leaves for a bed. Once he was finished, he lay down. Snug and comfortable. It was cosy. But then he realized he was hungry. All this digging had made him starving. As he thought about this, he heard a noise at the entrance of his new home. It was his mum and dad, Splish and Splash. His mum said, "I have made you eel pie and your favourite bowl of dessert, slimy, snotty slugs." "Yay!" cried Splosh. After he had eaten, Splosh went outside into the sunshine, then jumped into the pond he had dug, which was now a rooftop swimming pool. As he lay on his back in the pool, he laughed to himself and cried out a wibbly-wobbly woo, woo. Splosh was very, very happy. In the forest by the river roamed an otter, wild and free. With his heart he dug a home by the river, wild and free.
Stille Nacht, heilige
Walking through the wilderness on a lazy Sunday morning.
sunshine in my eyes, and all the birds are calling.
Misty dawn is to the sky above the golden coal. Following that rainbow, the color of your eyes. You are the rainbow.
You are the golden cone, the softened rain, and the heart in my dawn.
We're out of time on the journey home.
So much more than my mind, to fly with you through that rainbow, to see your color shine.
Birds are calling in the sky. The rain is gently falling.
Hear it singing in the trees, just as day is dawning. Early birds song, watch them fly, as the day goes by. Blowing cold breeze to my eye, amongst the softened rain. We are out of time on that journey home. So much more than my mind, to fly with you through that rainbow, to see your color shine. You are my rainbow. You are the golden cone, the softened rain, and the heart of my dawn.
Feel bound on this sacred ground. Feel bound on this sacred ground. Come on,
Birds song, watch them fly,
come on,
as the day goes is by. Don't come please
Feel bound on sacred ground. Feel bound on sacred ground.
Wedi herimo a he tir, llais credig hwn.
their bows, grateful but dandelion flowers, and I'll be doing whatever I can in summer. A drink in my hand, myself against the belly sand, probably getting gorgeously tapped in summer.
I'll finally see a summer breeze blow away a winter storm.
Ding dong, 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 ding dong,
ding dong, merrily on high. In heaven the bells are ringing. Ding dong, merrily the sky is rimmed with angels singing. Gloria, Hosanna in excelsis. Hosanna in excelsis.
E'en so he below, but steeple bells be swung, and I-oh, by priest and people sung.
Hosanna in excelsis. Hosanna in excelsis. Pray you dutifully prime your mac and chimey ringers. May you beautifully rhyme your eve-time song, ye singers. Gloria, 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 Gloria. Hosanna in excelsis. Gloria, Hosanna in excelsis.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings we bring to you and your King. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas!
Nadolig Clowen!
Thank you!
Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alles schläft, einsam wacht, nur das Trauerwach, heiliger Paar. Oder im Lob gegen Haar, schlafe in himmlischer Ruhe, schlafe in himmlischer Ruhe. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born.